What's up, y'all? It's your girl Terry J with HotxxMagOnlineRadio. We are here and we are live with Rapstarr. Rapstarr, what's good?
What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy, man. I'm happy to be here for real. Been a long time coming.
Absolutely. You know, we had you in a magazine a couple of years ago, one of the first magazines. Still got that. You know, you guys, people are still loving that magazine.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and I see that you haven't stopped. You know, you're still on your grind consistently. So, you know, let the people know, where are you representing from?
East Coast all day, Pittsburgh, PA. If people don't know, Pittsburgh is East Coast. What you at? So, you know, I'm 32. You know, I'm a 90s baby. You can see the chain of that, you know, the 90s baby chain. 1991. You know, I'm a hip hop baby. You know, being that my mom, my parents had something to do with me being an artist. My dad more so than my mom, but my mom, she actually used to work for 2 radio stations in Pittsburgh back in the 90s.
Wow.
WCXJ and Whammo.
Oh, nice.
If anybody don't know, WCXJ was in Homewood on Kelly Street. It was on a corner, and it was right next to the Catholic school that I used to go to, Holy Rosary.
Okay.
So right when she was at work, I was right across the street.
Wow. That's crazy.
You know, and that was the AM side, you know, talking. It was talk radio. So I was around, you know, me and her, we did I remember back in I want to say 95, we did a promo for Sam's Bostonian Shoe Store.
Okay.
You know, so that's real old school, but Pittsburgh right there. So we did that, and you know, just me learning to switch tables and everything, and being in that whole environment, you know, I soaked it up. And then when we go to Whammo, she was on the AM side, on the news side of Sheridan Broadcasting Network, and on the FM side, you know, it was Black Steel. Shout out to DJ Black Steel. He's very instrumental in me early on growing up in hip hop. He would give me copyright forms. He would DJ. I'd be right in the booth with him.
Wow.
So every Saturday morning, I was in that environment.
Wow.
You know, so my dad, you know, he used to bang classic 90s music. Growing up, just imagine it's 1996 and you riding shotgun in your dad's Cadillac, and you got the wood grain. You got the leather seats was burning your back because it's 900 degrees outside and the sun's coming down just like today it is, you know. And he put on the tape, and it'd be Bone Thugs and Harmony, it'd be Tupac, it'd be Biggie, it'd be Snoop, Dash, Corrupt, you know, everybody from Bad Boy to Death Row to Ruthless, anybody in between, you know, classic R&B records. You know, he was a big Kim fan, you know, Kim, K-E-M, not K-I-M, the singer. And, you know, he would blast that. My stepmom, you know, she would blast music from the 60s, as well as my great-grandmother and my grandmother. They played songs from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the goodies, the oldies stations. So I was always around music. You know, my sister, shout out to my sister Tamika Factor, she's a prima ballerina. She actually used to be a dancer for the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So I got a lot of talent in my family. And, you know, ever since then, you know, I've just been around music. And then it just started my grandmother, I'm from Homewood, I'm from the east side. So my grandmother, she used to go to the it was the senior citizen place in Homewood right on Frankstown. And the old people, they're dead and gone now. But they seen me since I was real young until I went up to college and everything.
Wow.
So I remember in the lounge room watching TV on a big screen TV, and I was watching TRL with Carson Daly. And I remember Eminem came up, and the D12, Blue and Yellow Purple Pills, the music video came on, and I was intrigued by that. Now before then, I was always around hip hop, but this would gravitated towards me. So the first artist that I say who got me interested in hip hop was Eminem.
Okay.
And then a few years after that, I was whole Shady Aftermath fan, you know, D12, Obi Trice, Stat Quo at the time, and then 50 came, signed to Shady. Shout out to 50 Cent, today's his birthday, happy 48th birthday.
Yes.
You know, so that's the second influence. So your first is M, my first is M, followed by his protege, 50 Cent, in the G Unit.
Wow.
So I always say the top 5 rappers, if you would actually put my song in a playlist on Pandora, and you could check this out because I'm on Pandora, but it would be the top 5 MCs that I would say is just me. It's M, 50/G Unit, LL Cool J, DMX RIP, and Little Kim.
Yeah, those are some greats. Those are definitely some greats, especially, RIP DMX, straight legend.
I met DMX when he was in Pittsburgh when he came the last time.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to my boy True Live. He was the one at the hookup. He's connected with Murder Inc. and all them. So he connected me with X. And I was at work. He called me and he was like, "Yo, I need you to slide through the hood. What's up?" And he's like, "X is in the building." He was at the Galaxy. So I drove and I'm like, all right. As soon as I got home from work, changed, came back and everything, and I'm outside the Galaxy waiting for my mans to come. And I see like 30 Rough Rider guys like up and down Kelly Street.
Dang.
And it's the same street that my Catholic school was on too. And where my mom used to do her, radio thing. So it's like, this is crazy. So after that, I see like 4 guys like coming out in a Suburban, Rough Rider jackets, and when DMX come out. And I was starstruck. And so I like looked at him. I was like, "Yo, X, big fan." Extended my hand. It was like a bike that was blue and white. And he looked at me and he was like, "Hey, yo, that's your bike?" And I was like, "Nah, man, that ain't my bike." He's like, "I'm just saying because the bike's blue and white, you wearing blue and white. I thought it was your bike. I was like, "Yo, that's X, like for real." And then I'm in the VIP section with X, and I'm like, "Yo, X, is it possible I could take a picture? You the man from outside, right?" "Yeah, let's go." So that was like a great experience. When I was in college, I met KRS-One.
Okay.
And I'm meeting a lot of legends, that help, shape what we call hip hop. Since next month on the 11th will be the 50th anniversary of hip hop, if anybody don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm just a product of my environment. I'm a 90s baby, like a bona fide early 90s baby. We joke around and say there's a difference between someone born from like 91 to somebody who's like born in like 98. Like we still hold that like style, that code, that OG. Like, nah, man.
Yeah. And even nowadays when it comes to music, the new music out right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a 90s baby, but I'm 94. But growing up, my mom used to listen to the greats and the older, like DMX, and my dad as well, Tupac's and the Biggies and so on and so on. And, nowadays I listen to the music now and I'm like, what's going on? What is this? This isn't real hip hop. This isn't music. However, now the independent music artists like us, like you, me, other people, we keep it going because, while we keep that new flavor, we also still incorporate what we learned over the years from the greats.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. That's because the underground, it says like hip hop lives on the underground. The mainstream haven't been hip hop in so long, so to find that pure essence or that raw energy of what hip hop used to be, you would have to go underground. Mainstream is just numbers. You know what it is. So when people be telling me, "Oh, you ever heard of?" Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know no new artists. Like I don't listen to it. I don't listen. You can't tell me who's the next little so and so and everything. I don't know. I might listen to it when I'm passing, chilling with my little sister. She got the music playing or something like that. But I don't listen to new music because I think it's not for me. So unless they step their bars up, unless they actually give us something that we actually want to listen to and actually can move the people, then get back to the basics. If you're a hip hop artist and you can't tell me who originated hip hop, if you can't tell me at least the 5 elements of hip hop, if you can't tell me that hip hop started in the South Bronx, then what are you doing for it? Even when you go to work at McDonald's, what they do, they go and give you orientation to learn about the company, where it started from. Even though you be falling asleep halfway during or at the beginning of it, they show you the history before you flip hamburgers. This is why we flip hamburgers. So before you get on the mic, actually give the people what they want to listen to. India Ari just came out with something. She was kind of chastising the new female artists, out there, being explicit. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with being explicit, but when you have too many artists that's doing the same thing, you're not really special. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the 90s, we could listen to nasty rap with Lil' Kim and listen to Adina Howard. We could listen to Missy Elliott, but we could also fall back on Lauryn Hill. We could fall back on Foxy. We could fall back on Lady of Rage. We could fall back on Queen Latifah. Like, it's such a cookie cutter like situation. Like, do you know how many guys you could walk in the hood and see how many people wearing skinny jeans and dreads?
A whole bunch now, at least.
Like it's like a clone. Like, it's just crazy. Like, nobody got their style. Like, nobody's individuals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember when Gucci came out with that blackface.
Yep.
And I was at the gas station. I seen a guy. He had a Gucci blazer, and I was like, you know, Gucci don't like black people, right? He's like, oh yeah, you know, but it's Gucci. We lost, son. We so lost. You know, hip hop came from like the Black Power movement and everything like that. So we need to get back to that. You know.
Facts, we really do. And you know, that's a big topic because, you know, especially for you growing up in the 90s, mom and dad listened to the greats and everything. Now that you're a music artist, what would you say, or why would you say that, how did hip hop get lost? Where did we go with it? You know what I mean? Because even Bow Wow put out something during the hip hop awards for BET and said hip hop haven't charted in a while. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a lot of reasons for one, there's really no big impact in hip hop anymore. Like, you got Drake out here, but Drake is singing the same stuff that he was doing on every other record for the last 10 years now. And people say that he's the great, and rumored that he don't write his own joints either. But you got people like Taylor Swift. Pop music is actually taking off more than rap music.
Yeah.
Now, it's crazy because you don't have... What it is you got the radio, like some of the radio, they pick and choose who they want. It's all politics, you know. So the people who would be the greats at the same time aren't getting enough push through because, you know, it's safer to go with this artist or it's safer to go with that artist, or because of this agenda, we gonna push this agenda and everything. So it's like, it's not really hip hop, it's society. Like, I remember I was telling my wife, I said, if you look outside, it's another episode of the Jerry Springer Show.
Facts.
Like, literally. Like, literally. You see politics today, you see in the news, you see entertainment, like, everything is just clown stuff to me. Like, it's just like, and people be entertained by it, and I'm like, it's a distraction.
Definitely.
So, but, you know, because, you know, it's a circus out here, you know, so, you know, I just, you know, feel like artists, they know that it's crazy out here, and we need to actually, as hip-hop artists, it's a responsibility to a public to actually move forward. You know, like the artist did for me, we need to do that.
Facts. Definitely. Now, you know, when it comes to you got a lot going on. I mean, you got your music going on. Again, you were in magazines, you were on other radio stations. You be out here promoting, and that's what it's about. But for the people who are tuning in for the first time, let the people know, how did you first get started making music? You know, what encouraged you? Of course, you were listening to music growing up, but what really gave you that push to start doing music?
Well, like I said, M was the reason why I started rapping. 50 was the reason why I got serious. So back in like 2001, 2002, when the G Unit mixtapes was coming out, and what I did was I was bouncing between like Wilkesburg and Homewood, and I would go to Upbeat Records when they was around, and I would buy instrumentals. I would buy like Dr. Dre instrumentals, Tupac instrumentals, 50 Cent G Unit instrumentals, Eminem instrumentals, Timberland instrumentals, and I would buy some of the G Unit mixtapes with DJ Who Kid, you know, and anybody know the G Unit Radio, you know, saga with number 1 to 25, you know. What I did was I grabbed some of my favorite songs and then I would rewrite them in my perspective, and that's how I learned about, okay, so a hook or a chorus and 4 bars, so I put that there, and it has to be catchy, you gotta repeat. Then the verses go, okay, that's 16 bars right here, so I'll do that. Second verse, the bridge, the hook, the chorus, you know, that's how I learned how to formulate a song structure. So that's how I started doing that. So ever since then, it was just practice to me, practicing punchlines, you know, telling a story, my story, you know, certain things that really hit home to like people like me and, you know, other MCs out there. Like 8 Mile was like, I was the guy in the back of the school bus, you know, with my head in a hoodie in the back writing rhymes and everything, listening to 8 Mile Road and everything. You know, I would have notebooks. I still got notebooks like crazy. I don't go to the studio with my phone and rap. I get the pen and the paper, set it up. You know, I do it. You know, that's what I'm comfortable with. True, you know, so I feel like my songs aren't complete unless I actually have my signature on it. You know, so, you know, that's how I really got into it. You know, of course, people in my, you know, where I was at, they knew I would battle rap and everything, this, that, and the third. And then as the years progressed, my passion even, like, just got even more intense. So I wanted to be the best rapper that I can be the best lyricist that I can be the best MC that I can be, you know, because this is my passion. You know, I've been doing this for so long. So when you do it for so long, you know that, you know, this is not just for the jewels and the fame and the this, that, and the third. Like, I actually want to teach people their history and uplift the black and brown community within my music. So
definitely. And that, you know, that's another big thing, you know, with you being a music artist, and like you said, you want to uplift the people in your community and not bring them down. And I feel like that's another difference when it comes to hip hop and music in general, is everybody who wants to come out wants to be better than the next, and they want to, you know, be above this person instead of networking and collaborating with others. And, you know, my favorites as far as when it comes to getting along, collaborating and everything, I will say Busta, Timberland, and then also Missy Elliott, because you can never say they never weren't willing to work with somebody. You know, they always worked together. It was always fire. They also always gave each other credit and hyped each other up. And, you know, shout out to Busta Rhymes for recently, he got an award at the BET Awards. So shout out to him. Oh my goodness, he deserved that. Because woo, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me why, if everybody's trying to do the same thing, there's enough plates at the table. We can expand this table.
That's because people got egos, especially rappers. We got egos. And you ever seen somebody who was like cool in person, and then when they get on the internet, they bugging out? You know what I'm saying? Because it fits a persona. And it's like, come on, son, I know you. You know? So it's like, because certain people got certain egos and everything like that, you know, they feed their ego. And it's not the fact that, you know, it's not the good kind, because it's not like, well, I'm a better MC. I know I'm a better MC, so I'm going to be the best that I can be. My approach is I'm going to try to, you know, throw jabs at you and not do this or not do that and everything. And it's not just, you know, in the, you know, in the big industry. It happens to us all the time in the independent too. You know, my whole thing is I look at people and I say, look, man, I tell everybody like this. For every interview that I go to, every broadcast, every platform that I go to, I always tell them, I say, yo, you're the next James Martinez. You are, you know, the next Miss Info. You the next Sway. Alright? We the next J. We the next X. We the next Pop. We the next Big. You know what I'm saying? You could find Angie Martinez sitting back. You see it all the time when she interviews rappers and everything, and she be talking about when Snoop came and it was the Tupac versus Death Row, the height of it and everything like that. These are people that they know each other personally. And they will big each other up. Every time I go on, you know, publications and I talk about DMX, I always shout out to my man, True Lynn, because people they only just want to give love to their homeboys. But if there's somebody out there, they don't want to give them any like credit, because they feel like the shine is going to take off of them. And it's like, we need people, because you think Missy Elliott, Aaliyah, Lil' Kim, and the Brat felt like that towards each other?
Definitely not.
You know, you think Brandy, MC Light, Yo-Yo, and Queen Latifah felt like that?
They wanted to come together.
Yeah, we need unity. You know, if you feel like that I'm not, you know, I'm way lyrically above you and everything like that, just work on the bars and be like, yo, we're gonna do a feature and I'm gonna see who can do out who. Because remember, Busta Rhymes said it when him and M did a verse, that what's that joint? Calm Down. He said M, his verse like 4 times, because every time he would send it, M would kill him on the verse. So he would actually be like, so it's healthy competition, you know. I guess people get, like I said, people, they just hooked up on the drama, you know. There's people out there that would rather watch like Desperate, you know, like the Housewives shit and everything like
Reality.
that. Reality. Me, I'm the type of person, you know, I'll sit there and I'll watch a documentary on certain things. You know, I like to elevate my mind, you know, on certain things. You know, I'm very enlightened, and I want my viewers to be enlightened. Would tell my dad, I remember my dad, he used to tell me one time, some of the stuff that I be writing, he said, you know, a lot of people don't get what you're writing because your bars might be too complex for them. And I said, well, remember, even though me personally, I'm an atheist, but my grandfather was a minister. And I said, I'm going to use it in your terms. When God wanted to speak to his people, only the people who listen to his people. You know what I'm saying? So my fans are the people who really love hip hop, like really, really have a deep compassion for hip hop. They were like me, like for real. Like I bring that back. I bring it back.
And I'm glad you put it that way because, you know, every music artist makes music a different way. You know, everybody has their own style, their own way of doing things if they're original. And in your case, I agree with you, you know, just like with anybody, not everybody's going to listen to every song you do and love it or every artist and love them. That's okay. But like you said, you are writing for the ones who do feel it, the ones who do love it. So, you know, with that being said, for the ones who are tuning in and haven't heard your music yet, how would you describe your style? Rather than being, you know, who you look up to, but what's your style? What could they expect when they listen to Rapstarr?
Oh, man, you would... A podcast before I did this one, they told me, they said my music would fit into a 90s playlist.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
What you would get is you would get that same essence that you would feel in the 90s and the early 2000s. You know, so me being an East Coast artist, you would get that essence of me being an East Coast artist. Boom bap, you know. I also have a record, shout out to King Peter Hustler from Washington State. Man, we did a few records together. We got a little Latin thing going on because, you know, I got a little Puerto Rican in me. So I also do a little bit of reggaeton and some Latin rap and everything. So me and him, we did a song called Coast to Coast. Bringing the East and the West Coast back together, and it's crazy.
That's lit.
Like, it's so... You would think that you'd be sitting in the passenger seat of, like, an Impala 94. Like, it's that type of, like, vibe to it, you know? And I'm bringing back that East Coast feel with the West Coast artists, you know? Expect punchlines, like, real punchlines. Like, stuff that... you would probably have to listen to my verses like about 3 or 4 times for you to actually be like, oh, snap, he was slick with that.
Oh, man.
You know, like, you got to dissect some of the stuff that I'm saying.
That's going to be dope. So that single, you said it's getting ready to release. Y'all working on releasing that right now?
Well, that song is 1990-ish.
1990.
1990. That's actually my second release. My first release was released on my birthday a year ago on February 7th. And it's called Power to My People.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Shout out to David Metropolis for making the beat. New York Bangers is the one who made 1990-ish. Power to My People was like an anthem. It's a chant, you know, for the black and brown community. You know, I speak a little bit of Spanish within it, so it's like, you know, Spanglish. So I start off talking to, you know, our people, the issues that we have with our people. I think at this point in time right now, I think we need to get back to being activists and get back to, you know, the black and brown community. Yeah. I go on TikTok and I see a lot of positive stuff, but I see a lot of ignorant stuff from people. Like, I remember today, I said something. It was this video, and the video was talking. It was a Latin video. And the video was talking about the origin of Mexicans, and they was using the word Latino. And somebody who's woke, a quote unquote Latino who is woke like me, know that that's not the correct term to use for real. Because the actual root of the Latin word derives from Italy. Because it's the Latin language. So the Latin language comes from Italy. We're not Italians. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, people who like Puerto Rico, Boricuas, Dominicans, you know, Mexicanos, their base nationality is indigenous Native American. You know, the Aztecs, Inca, and the Mayans. So you think when you think of these people, when you see people from Guatemala and everything, they're people. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that the Spanish came and colonized everything. And then I also have to tell people, you know, the ignorant people, I tell both sides, you know, sometimes they like, well, Puerto Ricans never claim to be black or this, that, and the third. And I'm like, you realize that most of Latin America, you know, started, you know, African slavery started in Latin America and started in the Americas. So if you look at it, you can say, well, the Portuguese and Spanish started the slave trade back in the 1300s. America didn't become America until what, 1776? Little punk holiday we just had, you know, just now. You know, so there was black people who was here post-slavery and pre-slavery. So, you know, I just tell people, you know, you gotta educate the people. So when I was telling the guy the root word of the Latin word, dude just came out and started dissing. And I'm like, I'm trying to give you knowledge. And because you can't accept the knowledge, because you can't actually take the time to actually Google the word like I told you to, and actually research, your defense mechanism is to diss. Because you can't handle what you can't understand. So, you know, I just be looking at people and I say people be worried and focused on the wrong stuff. You know, so that's what it is. That's what you can expect. Some realness in my music. Everything that I write is real. It's come from, you know, a personal experience. You know, I'm trying to elevate and I'm trying to teach. Like I said, I graduated with a bachelor's in history, specializing in African American, Latino, quote unquote, and Native American ancestry. Because I mixed with all three. You know, my father is actually the first person in his father's line, other than my aunts and uncles that was born in Pittsburgh. All of them was born, like my father's father was born on the Seminole Reservation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, you know, and then the Seminoles are, you know, a part of the Taino Native American from the Caribbean and everything. That's where I get that from.
Oh, wow.
You know, so yeah, I got a lot of mix in me, so, you know, but that's what I try to tell people within my music. I say, you know, because I'm a historian, for one, I want to project that within my music, so that knowledge that you would acquire from going to college for like 2-4 plus years, you know, you would acquire that with listening to my music.
Nice. That is dope. Now let's talk about this 1990-ish, because you got the gear on, you got the shirt on and everything, okay? I be seeing you out here promoting it.
Oh, yeah.
You got the chain on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
Now let's talk about that. I mean, you representing it hard. So, you know, let the people know a little bit more about that single and just what, you know, besides being from the 90s and representing, what really inspired you to do that single?
I wanted to make like an anthem for the East Coast. That's what I wanted to do. You know, before I even made the record, I was like, I'm an East Coast artist. I want to make something for the East Coast. You know, you go on radio, all you hear is Atlanta, the bass type, you know, music. And everything, nothing wrong with that. But, you know, we need something on the East Coast that we can bang to. So I was like, I need something. So I was looking and I ended up finding New York Bangers. Shout out to them for they had the beat already, and when I heard the beat I fell in love with it instantly. Like, I never heard a beat like that switches within how it goes, and it switches, and I was like, oh man.
You said that's it.
I grabbed my medicine, you know, rolled up my medicine and everything like that, and I grabbed the pen and the paper and I just started going. Now the crazy thing was, the verses was easy because I was just flowing with the verses, but actually the hook is actually a part of another song that I did.
Okay.
So I took that as a verse and I made it as the hook. So the hook goes, it's rap to the star, rocking a blue Kango, Puerto Rican pendant on the chain, watch it dangle. That was a part of a verse that I wrote, and I took that and I was like, ooh,
that's hard.
I was like, yeah. So after that, you know, it went on from that, and when I was recording it, my father, he said that was one of his favorite records that he heard from me. My grandfather was like a big supporter of that record. He's like, oh, that's my song. I drove him to the doctors about a year or two ago when I first recorded it. And I had the raw cut, wasn't even mixed or nothing. And I go into the store, he's in the car, and he's like bugging out because he was like, I thought you was somewhere in the car. I said, why would you think that? I was in the store. He was like, because I'm hearing all of these, your voice everywhere. So it's the ad-libs that he's listening to in the song. So he's hearing me, and he was like, the song that you was playing, that you? I was like, yeah. He was like, yo, that song is nice. I said, wait till you see the finished product.
Right.
And then when he heard the finished product, he was like, yeah, this is definitely my favorite song. Because he didn't even like rap. Actually, me growing up, my grandfather, the only song that him and my grandmother liked was Nelly's Air Force Ones.
That's the song.
that was the only song that they really appreciated out of hip hop. Because my grandfather, he was like, it's no music, it's just them talking. Until when my grandmother died about like a few years ago, it's like going on like 7 years now, 6-7 years now, and I work right across the street from him, so I go to my grandfather's house like every day on my lunch break, and me and him would talk. So when me and him talk, of course he wants to know what's going on in my music business. So I would tell him certain things, and he would actually that night would watch BET and watch the videos and this, that, and the third. Because before he was just pro, like, I don't know, Kev, you might want to, do what they're doing, get a nice set of ladies and have them in the video. And I'm like, I'm not that type of artist. Until he'll go and he'd be like, Cam, they're not really saying nothing. I've been telling you all this time. I'm not really saying nothing. So it's like, by him being around me, he starts to value like the real essence of hip hop and how the spoken word is powerful. So 1990ish, that was just something that I wanted to do for the East Coast, show my appreciation of the genre and the culture that I'm in. I had fun with that record. I really had fun with that record. Like, I really do. I was blasting on my way here. So
that is dope. So for the people who have not heard it yet, because y'all need to go check it out because it's super dope. You go check it out, okay?
Oh yeah.
Where could they check that, single out at?
Everywhere you can find music at. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Pandora. I got my own Pandora station. iHeart, iTunes, Shazam, Napster. What else? Just anywhere that you can find music from, you just gravitate towards me. Rapstarr, 2 R's at the end. So it's Rapstarr, and that's what it is. Oh, SoundCloud too. I got like unreleased. Now here's the thing about my SoundCloud. You can actually see the progression of me from like, I want to say it goes back since 2014, all the way to now. So I got like remixes. Like my cousin, shout out to my cousin Keisha. She would like listen to my old stuff that I would have, and she was like, "Yo, Cam, you really got some bangers." Because I did remixes to Total.
Okay.
I did remixes to Lil' Kim. But there's a couple Lil' Kim remixes that I did, like the one that she did called Aunt Dot, that is on her Notorious K.I.M. album.
Okay.
I did a remix to that called The Conversation. Now, this is before I started getting enlightened. So the concept of the song was about a hip-hop artist who was worried about the things in the industry that was getting out of hand. So he was bowed down talking to God. And as he's talking to God, God's talking to him back. And he got like a picture of Black Jesus up there. And then he got a picture of Tupac and Biggie on each side. And the spirit of them comes and talks to the young MC. And I'm doing all the interpretations.
Nice.
So it's like going back and forth like that. So even early on back then, you could tell that I was on like a different kind of, level.
Definitely. And that's dope. I mean, like I said, you guys, like, I was just having a conversation with my fiance, shout out to Nelse. But we talk about it all the time on how music isn't the same, and we wish that it was like 90s again, straight 90s music. And that's all we still listen to till this day. My dad my son be like, why are you playing this old school? And I'm like, okay, it ain't that old. Like, I forgot, you a youngin'. And then, even the music he listened to, he doesn't really listen to all that new song. He listens to different stuff. Like, I call it gamer music because all the gamers listen to it. But, I think it's really important, and you may even agree, if you're a music artist, like he said, up and coming, do your research, whatever genre you're trying to do. But definitely never sleep on hip-hop. Look up hip-hop. Look up the history of hip-hop, especially if you're a music artist.
Right. And I remember my grandfather, he told me, he said, what if people start trying to copy off of you like other people is doing? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, here's the difference. They can copy, but before I left here, you know what I was doing just now?
What were you doing?
I was watching Hey Arnold.
Oh, that's the show. That was the show.
You know what I'm saying? I was watching Hey Arnold.
That was the show. Then,
like, before that, I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho. I was watching Frasier. I'm in a 90s state. Mm-hmm. So you could do a remix or try to sound like a 90s artist, but if you're not actually in that state of mind of actually being in the 90s, like, mm-hmm. I was telling, like, in another song that I had, that's on my SoundCloud, an older song, and I said, while the kids was watching The Simpsons, I was out watching The Simpsons trial. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm so 90s to the point when people ask me, they be like, do you vote? I'll be like, no. For one, it's native land, so I feel like none of them deserve it. But I tell them, I said, it's rigged. And they tell me, why is it rigged? You can't say it's rigged and everything. And I'm like, well, do you remember what happened with Al Gore versus George Bush? Mm-hmm. When the ballots was floating in Florida somewhere. Mm-hmm. We was like 10 or 11 at this time. Mm-hmm. But I was watching the news because I was seeing what was going on. Mm-hmm. All the votes was floating in Florida, and at the time Florida's governor was Jeb Bush, mm-hmm. which was George Bush's brother. Mm-hmm. So you mean to tell me that the person who's the presidential elect has a brother in Florida and the ballots disappeared? Nobody knows nothing, but Al Gore had the most popular votes and Bush won. I'd be like, see, y'all wasn't paying attention when y'all was 11. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all of this stuff that's going on. That's why I say my 90s baby. Like, when I say my 90s baby, as far as like the hip hop and the R&B is concerned, like, I listen to 90s stuff. Like, my wife, she get on me. She'll call me an old man, but she'll call me like a teeny bopper at the same time. So I'll go and watch Walker, Texas Ranger, and then turn around and blast Barbie Girl by the Aqua, joints. Or I'll have some like Britney Spears or some 18. Like, I'm a 90s baby. I grew up on this stuff. Mm-hmm. I was watching Radio Disney and everything. Yeah. Radio Disney, playing with Pokemon cards, watching Dragon Ball Z. I tell everybody, I say, everybody wants to hear the story of Doughboy from Boys in the Hood, right? Mm-hmm. But don't nobody want to hear Trey's story. Mm-hmm. I was Trey. Mm-hmm. All of my friends was thugs and everything like that. I was the kid on the stoop until I was like, nah, I don't want to be on the stoop no more. Mm-hmm. So I was the one. I was Trey. I had both parents. So my father, he's just like Furious, like just like Furious. Oh, he's like Black Power this and you do right by this. My mom, she was the one who was going to college and got her MBA, her master's, and all of that stuff. So she was your regular 90s woman. Mm-hmm. And then you have like my dad who's like, so I was Trey at that time,
Nice. Man, oh my goodness. Like you guys, especially if you weren't born in the 90s, you wouldn't understand. But listen, I promise y'all, if y'all go follow, look up Rapstarr, listen to his music, he will definitely take you back into the 90s, okay? Now, for people who are tuning in, and like they said, we already got your 1990 song. You got another song that you first came out with a long time ago. You got your magazine, plus more that you're working on. Where could they follow you on social media and keep up with everything you got going on and coming up?
Everything that I got going on right now, like one of the other side hustles that I got is I'm like a little hip hop model, self-proclaimed. So like on my TikTok, you see the shirts, these is like, an homage to me. So it's like, this is my second single, so I got This Me. I have shirts and jackets that are made of all of my favorite artists from like different other stuff, like 90s stuff, like not only just rappers, but like different shows and movies and everything. Like I got a jacket that's actually made by Headgear Classics. If anybody knows that, they the ones that got the Death Row jacket. I got the Death Row jacket. I get the Bad Boy jacket. I got the Belly jacket with Nas and DMX on it. I even got a Proud Family jacket.
Okay.
I got the jacket that got Nipsey Hussle on it. The marathon continues. You know, I got an Aaliyah and DMX jacket. I got a No Limit jacket. Got a Mystical jacket. I even got like different 3D t-shirts. Like I got all of Little Kim's album except for her last one, 9. I'm trying to find that one. But my sweaters got the 3D print on them. And they got Little Kim's Hardcore, KIM, La Bella Mafia, and The Naked Truth. I also got shirts from Lloyd Banks's official clothing line on his website to support him because he's one of my favorite artists. I got LL Cool J. I got, a whole bunch of clothing. Like, I don't have no normal clothing. Like, I don't. Like, you see, I don't have no normal t-shirt, no nothing. It's just always, G'd up. So that's because I'm hip-hop. I live this. I breathe this. I sleep this. I eat this. This is what I do. I even dress like this when I'm at work. So when I'm at work and I'm clocking in, the same chains you see like this, I'm coming in to work like that.
Man, representing. You gotta have your own style all times. You know what I'm saying? Representing the culture.
Yeah.
And so people can continue to represent you and promote everything you got going on. Where could they follow you on social media?
TikTok, like I said, it's let me see, it's Rap to the Star. So it's ITSRAP, the number 2 THESTARR. It's the same thing with Instagram. It's also the same thing with my YouTube. My Facebook is Rapstarr, aka Hurricane Cam. I got 2 accounts. One I can't get into, but I have another one. I guess it has like my 7th magazine issue on it, or it has the latest jersey that I got made for myself. It's a hockey jersey that got Rapstarr on my logo on it. Nice. So it's that. You can check me out. Let's see, Twitter, Rapstarr412. On my Twitter, SoundCloud, Rapstarr, aka Hurricane Cam. Let's see, Pandora, just search up like Rapstarr, RAPSTARR. Everything in the music, just Rapstarr. You'll see me. You'll see the single pop up. Power to my people. Also other jams with me and King Peter Hustler. Valena, me and her, we about to have a song drop. It's called Stay Dripped. Some other songs coming up too that's like only exclusive on like SoundCloud that I'll put out like little mixtapes and everything like that. But other than that, that's all it is.
Absolutely. Make sure that y'all guys go check him out on social media. Make sure y'all go follow him right now, not later. Right now, not later. Okay, you guys. Y'all tuned in to HotxXMag Online Radio. Make sure y'all stay tuned, and in the description below, we'll also put his links for y'all to follow him and his music. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We out of here.
Yeah.